It's surprising to me, Tom, that Curt Schilling has not polled higher than just under 40% so far.
I've been voting for him each year. I don't get it. We talked about the postseason element, putting a guy over the top. Great regular season numbers, especially in today's game where you don't look at 300 wins as the barometer. But the postseason, to me, puts him over the top.
Agreed. I'm surprised it's been low. He's had 6.5 great seasons. I would put him in the Hall of Fame.
Best strikeout to walk ratio in the history of the game. Played on 3 World Series winning teams.
And he also played in the Phillies team, and he pitched pretty well for a bad ball club. A lot of 300 innings, lots of strikeouts, a lot of complete games. I'm surprised he doesn't gain consideration.
And we talk about the extra credit in the postseason. That's a big sample size in the postseason. And also, I think there are iconic moments in the postseason. The bloody sock, the 2004 team. All that I think has to play in on the fact that he was a major influence.
Yeah, those things which sabermetrics does not really take into account. And I think sabermetrics is important and very valid. But how important is the guy historically? The moments, they count. Those are tiebreakers. It's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So Schilling, to me, belongs. Now, Mike Mussina, you could make a case that Mike Mussina is every bit as good as Curt Schilling. But he doesn't have those extras going for him.
But he is a Hall of Famer. Again, you may disagree with this, Doggy, but he's got Hall of Fame numbers. He doesn't have that fame in the big moments and the bloody socks. But you're talking about a guy who made 60% of his career starts in Fenway Park, Camden Yards, and Yankee Stadium. The only pitcher ever to pitch his entire career in the AL East in the steroid era. So there's no, you're not facing the other team's pitcher, the greatest offensive era we've ever seen. And he comes out of it with more wins than any American League pitcher in the DH era except Roger Clemens.
Exactly.
More than 100 games over 500.
Exactly the same career winning percentage as Jim Palmer, 638.
What am I missing here?
Well, no Cy Young's number one.
Oh, come on.
Only
one guy can win that a year.
He around the sport for 18, 19 years. If I'm going to put him in the Hall of Fame, can I at least ask one of those years where he pitched in the American League, he could win a Cy Young? Just one.
By the way, you know how many MVPs Hank Aaron won? One. What if he hadn't won that one
runs,
MVP?
Well, he's got 740. I forget, 755. I mean, can I have one Cy Young Award winning time? Can I have one? Is it asking too much?
You don't need it, though. Look at how many times this guy finished in the top 5 in the league in ERA.
How many times he win 20? One time.
This past year, does Zach Greinke get penalized for that season because Jake Arrieta was so good?
Yeah.
I mean, Mussina had 6 top 5 finishes. 6 top 5 finishes. He can't get penalized because someone had a miraculous year.
But again, if he pitched 17 years at high-quality Hall of Fame level, you would think that one of those 17, the writers would say, you're the best pitcher this year in the sport. You are the Cy Young. Mussina doesn't have that.
Okay.
It's a problem for him.
Moving along only because we have to. Gary Sheffield has more than 500 home runs. That doesn't mean what it used to mean. He's in the Mitchell Report. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
He's not in the Hall of Fame because of the Mitchell Report, probably. Also the fact that, and I think this has been unfair to a guy like Fred McGriff, obviously not in the Mitchell Report, where you're not connected to any one team. And in Sheffield's case, not really even to one position either. When you move around that much in your career, it shouldn't matter, but it does in the voters. And I think that has harmed Fred McGriff. Fred McGriff, to me, is a Hall of Famer, a guy with a better on-base percentage, slugging, more 100 RBI seasons than Eddie Murray. I mean, this is a guy whose career OPS well over 800, more than 10,000 plate appearances, and it's because he hit 493 and not 500.
But although toward the end of his career he left Baltimore, basically Eddie Murray's an Oriole in your mind's eye.
To me, that is a difference.
Place and in one uniform, yeah, it makes a difference.
Absolutely right. Even though, for instance, in his prime of his career, when the Braves made that trade for Fred McGriff against your Giants,
they won because of it.
They
won because of it.
Fred McGriff, 493 career home runs, 10 seasons, 30-plus, not connected to roids in a steroid era. Good case to be made for him.
Yes, I think he's underappreciated. But getting back to Gary Sheffield, I agree with Tom. It's a total PED use. But there are 16 home runs separate Fred McGriff and Gary Sheffield. If you take away the PED for Sheffield, I think he's in. So why doesn't Fred McGriff get the same love?
Jeff Kent, among second basemen, ranks very high in terms of hitting numbers. More than 300 home runs, more than 500 doubles. Is Jeff Kent a valid candidate?
He's a Hall of Famer. And you say Ryan Sandberg's in the Hall of Fame. Go look at their numbers. Jeff Kent blows them away. Get the most 100 RBI seasons.
Sandberg better glove man, though, right?
Definitely a better glove man, no question about it. But this is a guy, he stayed at second base for a long time, Jeff Kent. Majority of his career spent at second base. The offensive numbers, other than Charlie Gehringer, are the best of any second baseman of all time.
Oh, Rogers Hornsby.
Rogers Hornsby, I'm talking power RBI numbers as well. That's, to me, what separates. When you get the power and RBIs out of this guy and the MVP finishes, that's got to satisfy you.
I think
Jeff Kent's a Hall of Fame.
I agree.
I think he's the one guy who, without defensive metrics, failed the eye test in all the minds of everyone. And they think he was such a detriment defensively that even if he was bad defensively, his offensive numbers are so staggering when you compare it to other second basemen that it's hard to argue that he should not be considered or get more votes than what he does.
Better than 100 RBIs 8 times in a 9-year stretch.